What's going on, everybody? We're back with Behind the Lines NFL Week 5. Unfortunately, this week I will not be joined by Tom Cunningham. I will be joined by Daniel Dobish. Daniel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
How you doing, man? It's good to be here. I have been writing about football for good 21 years now. I joined VegasInsider officially last November, but I've been writing as a freelancer with them for a good 8 or 9 years. Big Cleveland Browns fan, so not a lot to cheer about, not a lot to smile about. And I write the Total Talk piece every week for VegasInsider, so I'm excited about that. It's a great piece. It's a lot of fun, and it's kind of like my baby. I like putting a little extra time into it, and it's a good time to engage with the writers sometimes. Talk to the different guys, Kevin and Tom, and the guys that you referenced, Tom Cunningham at Vegas. Get their input on games and trends, and try to put it out there and get some winners for the users.
Well, excellent. We're glad to have you this week. And let's talk about Tom here for a second. Tom put up a 12-4 record last week, so hopefully we can emulate that here in Week 5. I went 9-6-1 myself. I did end up getting that push with the Baltimore Ravens, so that is what it is. We're going to start right off with the Thursday night game, try and go through these a little bit quick here. We've got the Colts under the 9 in a row here since late 2021. We got the Broncos under 3-1 in 2022 so far. I think we're going to end up rolling with under 42.5 minus 115. What do you have on this game?
I agree. With no Jonathan Taylor tonight and with no Javonte Williams, I think it's kind of going to be a little bit of a snoozer. I like the under also. Denver hasn't been lighting the world of fire anyway. So, and Indianapolis has been trending to the under a lot too. So it's definitely going to be a low scoring game.
Yeah, the only thing that worries you there is everybody thinks it's going to be in the under, and sometimes that sneaks up on you. But let's see, do we have any movement there? The under is coming down in correlation with those bets, so it doesn't look like there's anything fruity on the back end. I definitely feel like there's a lot of people out on both those teams. That game is going to take place right here in the parking lot. I don't know that I'm going to go over and watch it. I think I'm just going to stay home.
Okay.
So, yeah. Hey, man, not every game is a good game. Let's move on to another game that may not be amazing. We've got New York Giants, Green Bay Packers. This one's going to take place in London. So the interesting note that I have on this game is the Packers are 1-4 as the favorites when they're outside of Lambeau. So first off, they play a lot of games outside of Lambeau as a home favorite. We'll start there. And they don't do very well when that's the case. My note here for this game, I like the under 41 more so than trying to play with the spread. I had a lean on the Giants, but I think I'm just going to stick with the under. What do you think about that one?
I was talking earlier about this game, and the Giants are 2-0 all time in London. Got that going for them. I do like the fact that Bailey Zappi came into the Packers game last week for the Patriots and hung around. Packers don't have a great offense. They've been struggling a little bit, and I think the Giants could hang out and at least keep it within 8 points, make it a one-score game. I don't know if they're going to win necessarily. In fact, I don't think they're going to win outright, but I believe the Giants could definitely keep it within 8 or 8.5 if you can get that.
I believe 8 is still available as we look right here, pretty much across the board. No more 8.5s, but if you sneak yourself in, you can get yourself some +8. I'll stick with my under. I'm going to mark you down with your +8 spread. All right, let's go to the next game. Oh, this will be a good one here. Seahawks. Everybody's enamored by all the points that were put up last week when they played Detroit. Was that more Detroit gives up a lot of points, or the Seahawks are really good? Which one?
Yeah, I think that's Detroit's defense. I mean, they've been letting everybody run all over them. It's still Geno Smith. I mean, there's a reason he's a journeyman. The fact that Andy Dalton may or may not start for the Saints, though, and I could see the under, and I could see a lot of people maybe playing the over, getting tricked into it by what Seattle did last week. So I like the under in that game, definitely.
The Saints are 1-5 versus the spread in the last 6 at the Superdome, and they're also 8-3 on the under run on the last 11. So I think that sounds good on the under there. My notes from pre-show here state that I would like to take. I guess I'm a Seattle homer after last week. Seattle plus 5.5 points bet minus 107. Which one did you want officially in this game?
I'll definitely go the under in this game. I think everybody's going to play the over just after what Seattle did last week.
I actually have under 47 also noted that I just saw pre-show, and I do not see that available anymore. So it looks like that was a good number.
Yeah, that's especially if you can get 47 and a hook, that would be really nice. But that's ship sailed.
Yeah, at this point, that would probably cost you a little bit too much. The Jaguars, I thought they were going to be able to pull it off in Philadelphia and at least cover the spread. It did not happen. The Eagles prevailed. And now the Texans, I also took on the spread last week, and I believe some of the trends lean that way again this week. Let's see. We've got Houston 5-2-1 versus the spread since late 2021. The Texans have won the last 8 outright in the series, covering 4 of the last 5. None of that super exciting. What do you think about this game?
No, all those trends definitely look like they point towards the Texans, but the Jaguars, they're just a completely different team this year. They actually look like a legitimate NFL team for the first time, and I can't remember, maybe since Mark Brunell and Tony Baselli were there. At the same time, the Texans have kind of been hanging around a little bit. You know, they're not great. They're not even good, but they're decent enough to keep it within a 1-score game. And if I could get that at 7 or 7.5, I think I saw an 8.5 on there still available. I'm not sure if that's legitimate or not, but if I would take the Texans plus 7 just to keep it within a 1-score game. I don't trust the Jaguars that much. It's been a long time. It would be interesting to look up and see the last time the Jaguars are laying a touchdown against anyone.
I'm also not sure that plus 8.5 is legitimate. I'll find out here in a minute, as I just made all these notes and I have been making all these wagers on a weekly basis. So I'm not sure how much we'll take on it, but it does look like that's an actual number. If it ends up being super limited, I'll change it to just the plus 7. But for now, officially, I'll take that plus 8.5 if they're going to give it to us.
Yeah, I would love that.
Excellent. Scrolling down, let's move in. Oh, is this the first time in how long that Pittsburgh's been a 14-point dog? Did I hear something like that this week?
Yeah, that's got to be a long time. That sounds like Bubby Brister, Lewis Lips like era kind of Steeler football.
Yeah, it definitely has been a minute. So Tomlin has won 11-6 in his last 17 as the dog since 2020, but the Bills are 4-0-1 versus the spread last 5 as the host. What do you got here?
Yeah, I remember there was all kinds of hype and excitement around Buffalo last season, and then Pittsburgh went in there and won outright in week 1. But that was also with Ben Roethlisberger, and Juju was there, and at the same time, 14's quite a bit. Buffalo's a really good team, and it's Kenny Pickett's first start, a rookie, a very, very, very hostile environment. That's a tough one. I would probably go with the under instead on that game. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to score a lot of points against that Buffalo defense, and I don't think Buffalo's going to score quite a bit against the Steelers either. I'm a little concerned. I think Minka Fitzpatrick's banged up, so that might make Buffalo, have a little chance to score some more points. But other than that, I don't think Pittsburgh's scoring a lot, so I would probably stay away from the line and go with the under instead.
I think you talked me off a ledge here. My notes for this game went Buffalo minus the points, cross it out. Pittsburgh plus the points, cross it out. Back to Buffalo, crossed it out again. I'm gonna cross all of that out, and we're just gonna go with the under. I like that. That sounds like the better play because I also like that one on the backside. What do we have here as far as our over-unders, best numbers?
Seems like pretty steady.
Yeah, 46.5. We are not going to find anything better than that. And now we can move on to the most exciting game of the week. Really not serious. Falcons, Buccaneers.
See, this is a wild game. The Buccaneers and the Falcons, there's a strange trend in this series. I believe it's the last 4 in Atlanta have gone under, and the last 4 in Tampa have gone over, something like that.
Interesting.
It's a very crazy thing. But at the same time, that was also with Matt Ryan and not Marcus Mariota and not it's Huntley is the running back for the Falcons now. Cordell Patterson went on the IR last week. So Atlanta's just their offense is an absolute mess. I think Tampa Bay is probably going to look like the Super Bowl contender that they were supposed to be this week. They got everybody back. Chris Godwin got a little banged up again at the end of that game last weekend, but there's Julio. There's, Evans and Brady are just like on a different plane together. I think that Tampa Bay really puts it on them. I would lay the 9.5. I wouldn't go double digits on this one, but if I can get it at 9.5 and it looks like you still can at a lot of places, I would go with that.
The Falcons off to the 4-0 start versus the spread in 2022 is probably somewhat correlated to Mr. Cordero. He's really been having himself a decent year. It looks like there's sharp money on the Atlanta side, but right before the show, there was only 110 on the board, and that was FanDuel, and I definitely see that we've got another one to show up. It is moving against the money.
I definitely do not trust the Falcons. I think that they're 6-2-2 on the road. The last 10 it says also. A lot of that is not terribly interesting to me because a lot of that work was done with Matt Ryan in a different cast. I think Tampa Bay just puts it on them in this game. They haven't had any great games where you're like, oh, this looks like a Super Bowl contender. I think they're going to snap back into form this week.
Any chance Tom Brady's more hyper distracted than hyper focused with all the recent events?
I don't know. He's a weird guy. I think with all the anger and the stress and the things that are going on in his personal life, I think he takes it and channels it into a positive on the field. He's a weird guy, just like that.
I feel like he's been that way most of his career, which makes me skeptical on that. But either way, I wrote down Atlanta plus 10. I'll grin and bear it and just pray that they haven't looked good and they're not going to get that much better this week. Which one are you taking officially here?
I'll go with the Buccaneers minus the 9.5.
The 9.5? All right. Divisional game, Chicago, Minnesota.
Yeah, the Bears, they just, I don't know. They're a strange team. Justin Fields, I want him to do well. I've been watching Ohio State football since I was a little kid, and Ohio State's never had a top-tier quarterback in the NFL. There hasn't been one guy that you can name that's been just a superstar. And I don't know. I don't think Fields is the guy either. He's good. He can run the ball a little bit. I mean, I've seen some things. He's been I think he connected with Darnell Mooney a little bit last week to move the ball. Khalil Herbert looks pretty sharp as the running back, instead of David Montgomery. So there's that. But the Vikings at home, especially if you can, I guess it's at 7, a flat 7 right now in a lot of places. I would probably take the Vikings on that one. I think the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, they're such a crazy offense. That pass offense is on fire, despite Kirk Cousins. I don't really believe in him that much either, but the receivers are legit. And Adam Thielen seems like he's been a lot more involved in the last 2 weeks too, which is a good thing.
That is always good. I'm on board with you here with the Minnesota -7 before they all go to 7.5 or more. Just to add into it, we do have the Vikings have covered 4 of their last 5 meetings versus the Bears, and the Bears are 2-6 versus the spread in their last 8 road games. Moving on to the next game. Titans Commanders.
Yeah, the Titans. It also helped that they played the Colts last week, but they actually looked like a legitimate contender on the road. Derrick Henry had a strong game. Tannehill's still been a little so far, but the Titans, they were 7-3 on the road in the last 10, I believe, at the over. So I think they'll be able to put up some more points this week. That number's a little low, 42.5. Carson Wentz, the first 2 weeks looked like a ball of fire, and then the last 2 weeks he's kind of fallen apart. But the first 2 weeks, if he can get that back, this could be a surprising. I wouldn't say shootout, but 43 points is not a lot of points, and I could see the over in this game happening rather easily.
The trends say the Titans are over 7-3 in their last 10 away games. Washington, however, is 6-1 in the under in their last 7 at FedEx Field. Is that because the road team doesn't score? Is that because Carson Wentz isn't producing points? We will find out soon enough. I am going to go the other way on this game, and I'm going to take the Titans -1.5 as we see the numbers start moving through the 2s, and it opened as a pick'em. Lots of money coming in on the spread. I'm going to jump on board with that trend before we cross any significant numbers.
I could see that definitely happening too. That's a nice parlay opportunity, actually.
Yes. All right. Let's see. Let me write those down. We've got Dolphins and the Jets. This is the game actually I'm interested. I'm betting on the Jets for some reason, and as long as I keep getting some value on them, which would have been immediately when we had that 6 number that I did miss. I did not get them until 3.5, but I'm going to take the Jets 3.5. I'll just open with that.
I do not love the Dolphins here. With Teddy Bridgewater, it's a different story. Instead of Tua, obviously he was declared out on Monday. At the same time, I've been seeing the Miami pass rush is super strong. Zach Wilson will be making his second start, and I don't think he's faced a defense like this maybe at all in his brief career. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Dolphins still could manage to scrape this one out and get the win on the road, but I don't love that, especially with the 3 and a hook. My play would go with the under. I think defense is going to reign supreme, actually, on both sides of the ball. Jets are weird. I believe they're 2-0 to the under at home and 2-0 on the road to the over. They score all kinds of points when they're outside of New York or New Jersey, as the case may be. And then at home, they score very little. So I like the under a lot, actually, in this game. This might be my favorite play of the week. In fact, if you can get it at 46.5, that's even better.
And it's your favorite. We'll write that down, and that goes right in line with this one's a little bit of a quirky trend when I was reading it earlier. The Dolphins are 6-2 in their last to the under in their last 8 after a game in Cincinnati.
That's a crazy trend. Whoever comes up with stuff like that, it's amazing.
I'm not sure, but I stumbled across it. So let's go to the Chargers and Browns. Your beloved Browns. I'll let you kick this one off.
Yeah, I think that the Chargers are going to curb stomp the Browns. The Browns have been hanging around. Jacoby Brissett, he's okay. He's a super nice guy. He's a great guy to cheer for. Nick Chubb should be able to run the ball quite a bit against the Chargers, I think. But hey, last season these teams hooked up for a 47-42 game too in Los Angeles. That was wild. But I don't think we're going to see anything close to that this season. The Browns are just, I don't know, man. They have Nick Chubb. Kevin Stefanski should just be leaning all over him and Kareem Hunt. It just doesn't seem like he uses those guys to the best of their abilities. He tries to be too cute with the analytics and whatnot too. I think the Chargers, I think they just come in and they win this game by double digits. I don't think it's going to even be close. It might be 27-13, something like that. I love the Chargers -2.5. I mean, that seems like free money.
I also wrote down the Chargers -2.5. So what are we seeing that no one else is seeing? Look at this interesting number down here. Everybody is just betting. It's not only the percent of the bets. It looks like we're getting some sharp money on the Browns +2.5 or less because they never were a 3 at this point.
Yeah, and the Browns are 8-19 in the last 27 as a home dog. I mean, that's even more fuel to the fire for taking the Chargers -2.5.
Okay. And the Chargers are also 5-1 last 6 as the road chalk. So those two are going to work with themselves. I like the charge. Do you want to mess with the total at all in this game? I had the over written down, I believe.
You know, the Browns have been a strange team. Offensively, they're so disjointed. The Chargers, they could easily get into the 30s. And again, that last season, that game scares me too. So I have mixed feelings on this. I wouldn't touch the total, actually. If I was going to go a certain way, I would go the under.
Okay. Let's just go. Both of us can take the -2.5, and we'll make that the officials, and we'll move on. Now we get full excitement. Your boy Zappy and the Detroit Lions, who just give up offense to everyone.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. This was supposed to be the Matt Patricia Bowl, coming home to face Bill Belichick, but that obviously didn't come into fruition. Dan Campbell has got those guys playing good on the offensive side of the ball. I'd like to see Amon-Ra St. Brown be able to play, and DJ Chark. Obviously, those two guys were out, and they still scored a ton of points last week. The Patriots are a different story, though. At home, they have a pretty solid defense. Detroit going outdoors, that'll be interesting. I don't really think that they're going to be as fast and look as strong on offense as opposed to at Ford Field, where they just absolutely lit it up. I don't know. This is a tough one. This is a real tough one. I want to take the Lions, maybe on the money line to get this one done. I just don't trust the Patriots and trust the rookie quarterback making his first NFL start. That would be worth the roll of the dice taking the Lions on the money line.
It's the best number you get there. 148, you see?
Yeah, 148 with is that Caesars?
Oh, what is this Fubo? I'm not sure I actually have an account there.
Not sure.
Might have to
Yeah,
get one.
either. I do for TV.
All right, we'll write down Caesars 148 for you there.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty decent value.
So I have written down over 45.5 from my earlier notes. What was I seeing here? Just a ton of money and maybe some movement. Wasn't it? Oh, I wanted to get. Oh, but it already went to 46 and came back down, so that's a little bit strange. I don't really like to take a team in New England.
No,
I don't know that the 6 of 8. Detroit's over in the last 6 of 8, and Belichick's 2-4 in his last 6 against the spread, meaning that he's sacrificing some points or he's just completely not scoring himself. I think those things put together with a little bit of movement there and some trending bets, I'm going to take that over 45.5. I'll just stick that out. I heard the chuckle. Go for it. What do you got for Niners Panthers?
Well, I live in Raleigh, and it's 2 hours away, but obviously we get a lot of Panthers talk, and none of it is good. People are just lighting up this team. They don't even want to watch. It's only 4 games, and they've soured on Baker Mayfield already. I don't love the 49ers laying 6, though, on the road. It seems like the Panthers are good enough to keep it within a 1-score game at least. Maybe even lose by a last-second field goal or something like that. That defense has been playing well, and they still have Christian McCaffrey. they still have some exciting players on offense if they can finally put it together. And the Niners just don't score a lot of points. I wish that I could get this at 7 or 7.5, but I would actually. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this. I would go with the Panthers plus 6.5 to keep it close and within a one-score game. I just don't trust the Niners. They're not a high-scoring team. Jimmy G is not that much more exciting than Baker Mayfield. There's a reason both of those guys had their names tossed around in trade rumors during the offseason. They obviously are kind of lucked into having him on the roster still. But
the one attribute that Jimmy G excels at is he just makes less mistakes. Is that how we just keep writing this down? He's not exciting for sure, yeah.
If something happened to Deebo Samuel, they'd really be in trouble. I mean, he's the guy that kind of stirs their drink. If it wasn't for him, that offense doesn't really look any different than the Carolina offense, and the defenses are basically the same. This is going to be a really low-scoring game. Obviously, the line is 39 on this game, so that's no secret. But I think Panthers plus 6.5. I'll stick with that.
I wrote down that under 39.5. We're going to pray for that one.
That's so low. That's like the 1980s and 90s like totals where they were 34, 35. That's a low number. That's scary.
Yeah, it's very low and it's not moving. It is scary. It is definitely scary. So Panthers at home plus 6.5 makes a lot of sense. I had under 39.5, and we're going to hold our nose and pray. Let's go. Philadelphia, Arizona, I have next on the list, I believe.
Battle of the Birds. This one, former NFC East division matchup. It's been a while, obviously, but Philadelphia, are they as good as 4-0? I'm not quite sure about that.
Usually I say no this early in the NFL season. And just a little note, the Cards haven't covered a game at home in their last 6.
That is true. I think Kyler Murray, though, against Jalen Hurts, this is going to be an exciting game. It's going to be a fun game to watch in the 4 o'clock window, or I guess 2:25 window in your I see the times, the amount of times on your screen. It's tossing me off a little bit. But I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think there's a lot of offensive parts in this game. I could see a shootout on that grass in Glendale. It's Jalen Hurts. Miles Sanders has been playing well. Kyler Murray just it seems like that Raiders game was one thing, and they were down 20-0, and he just kind of took that team on his shoulders and won that game single-handedly in the second half and in overtime. I think he could do that at home. I do get scared off a little bit by the fact that they've struggled so much against the number, but +5 at home. I think the Eagles are a little overvalued there. I'll take the home dog +5 points.
You got 5.5 right there. You want that hook?
Even better.
All right.
The win. Such a beautiful place to stay, too.
So all that being said, you think it might be a shootout? We do have a lot of wagers coming in on the over here. It looks like everybody's going to start to shift through the 49. Do you think there's any value in taking this 48.5?
That's such a big number, though. That's such a scary number. I like 46.5 if I play overs for some reason. I don't know. It's just a personal thing. 48.5 is such a weird, just with the math, and I don't know, maybe 31-24, something like that. I could see that, but I'll stick with Arizona +5. But if I did have a lean, it would be to the over, especially if you could scoop up that 48.5 still before it goes way too high. This might easily get to 50 or 50.5.
It could. I wrote down Philadelphia -5, so hopefully we split that and you get your +5.5. We're on opposite sides of that game. I'm also a Philadelphia fan. Maybe that plays into my decision making there. I really do try not to bet on games they're involved in. It seems to get in your head. So let's move on to the underdog of the week, the Cowboys. 3-0 Cooper Rush.
Yeah, It's crazy. People are trying to make a quarterback controversy and stuff. It's so silly. That's never going to happen.
Oh, it's already
Cooper
one.
Rush,
As long as we're
it,
talking about it, we've created it, right?
it's such nonsense. I mean, he's a good quarterback who's been doing his job as a backup. You come in, you don't make mistakes, and you try to help your team to win, or at least hang around. And he's done that and then some.
I could throw out
The
a great
Rams.
example here.
Well, go
AJ
ahead.
Feely
Nice. Philadelphia.
came in, won like 5 games in a row. Then the Dolphins signed him. He didn't win another game.
Oh, what about Nick Foles?
Well, so Nick then has won some games in some other teams. He's never really been consistent, but he's had big performances in multiple places. And then he won a Super Bowl, so I can never say anything bad about him.
This is true. I think the Rams looked pretty bad in San Francisco, but that defense can do that to a lot of teams. The 49ers haven't given up anything this season. Dallas has also a very good defense. 43 is such a low number, though. I think that the Rams are going to teach Mr. Rush a lesson this week. I think he's going to see a lot of Aaron Donald. That's if I've seen there was a possibility that Dak Prescott was pushing to play. I don't think that's going to happen.
I thought I saw that he was out after that.
Yeah, he went to the doctor on Tuesday. That was the last thing that I had seen. And I know he wants to play, but obviously the team has longer term aspirations and they don't want to rush him back and then have him be out longer. I would take the Rams if Cooper Rush is starting. -5, especially that seems like a low number. I think the Rams offense can put up some enough points. At home, they seem to be a different team. Even against that strong Dallas defense, I could see this game being something like maybe 19-10, a lower scoring game, but I'll still take the line instead. I'll go with the Rams.
I actually wrote down that I didn't want to wager on this game.
Nice.
So, yeah, I do think the Rams will not be that they should look a little bit better. And I do think both defenses could end up creating a low scoring game, but the numbers, like you said, were already down towards, yeah. And it opened at 46. Yeah, and I talked about this last week. Once I start losing key numbers, like not only crossing them, but like now I'm losing entire possessions worth of points. Yes. It becomes kind of a big deal. So for that, I'm not going to take any wager in this game. I'll let you ride that LA Rams -5. Good luck to you, sir. And let's go to the Bengals and the Ravens. I think I want to go against the recent historical trend here, but I believe I saw something else. Let's see. Since he's under 4 in a row and 9 straight since late 2021, but both of their Ravens games were overs, so they had some shootout anomalies with the Ravens prior. My notes on this game, I'm going to go with the under 48.5.
They dropped 41 on the Ravens both times last season. That's not going to happen this time. And it's an odd thing. I kind of forgot to mention this. The divisional play so far, division games, whatever, is 18-4 to the under through 22 games this season. That's an amazing stat. I could see under in this game, Bengals, Ravens, especially if you can get it at 48.5. Is that still available? DraftKings?
It is. I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, even if you look down here, the under's taken some sharp money, and DraftKings is the only one that hasn't moved the line. Everybody else has decided that they're going to go ahead and come down from at least the hook, maybe even down. We've got Caesars is down at 47. I'm not sure why they are leaving that up, but let's take it before it moves.
I would definitely like that 48.5 in this game. I don't think Joe Burrow and the offense have been the same. It'll be interesting to see, primetime game. This is an important game. Somebody's going to 2 and 3. There's going to be a lot of desperation in this game to kind of avoid that. Even though, the teams in the AFC North, these are probably the 2 best teams. But 3 losses at this point, that's going to be tough. This is going to be this is going to be a fun game to watch, despite the fact we'll have to listen to Chris Collinsworth gushing all over the place on Sunday night.
It's kind of fun to bet the unders. It's a sweat the entire game that feels totally different than when you're betting overs and player props.
More so in pro football, it's a little easier than college football. College football, it's never over.
Oh, I do not do much of the college football.
Love college football too.
I'm sure there's lots of ins there. I've got to find a way into that here in the near future. All right, let's go with Raiders Chiefs. I believe we had a couple of nice numbers here. Let's see. Last 4 meetings were overs. Raiders are 1-3 straight up and versus the spread. None of that's very exciting, but you know who is exciting? Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City offense, with or without Tyreek. It hasn't really mattered. I see we opened at 50.5. We're now at 51 on that total. What do you think? What do you think you want for this game?
This is a strange game. I hate to mention this because I'm not a big fantasy player, but I have Patrick Mahomes in my fantasy league, and the only one I'm playing, the only one I care about. So I've watched a lot of their games. This is odd. They haven't played a Sunday game at home yet. They're still going to go into week 5 or week 6. I haven't looked ahead at the schedule, but they played a Thursday game against the Chargers. This will be a Monday night game, so it's kind of strange to not see a Sunday tailgate at Arrowhead until the middle of October or so. They pounded the Raiders last season. This wasn't even a fun game to watch last year. I mean, they almost put up 90 total points against the Raiders. I think they could take care of the total.
89-23 was the combined score.
That's crazy. I think they could almost take care of the over by themselves the way that they've been playing. Mahomes just has so many weapons, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been a weapon out of the backfield catching the football. I think he's got 3 touchdowns. They haven't missed Tyreek Hill as much as they thought because he spreads it around now to Juju. He's got Travis Kelce, obviously, Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Hardman gets catches.
Isaiah Pacheco's coming out of nowhere. The rookie out of Rutgers is looking like a Swiss Army knife. Mecole Hardman. There's just so many guys. You never know who's going to get the ball, but somebody's going to get it, and they're going to be advancing it down the field. This offense is exciting. If you could get it at 7, it would be nice if it would sneak down back to 6.5 where it opened. I wish I could go back in time. But I would lay to 7. I think the Chiefs are going to put it on the Raiders. I don't think the Raiders are a very good team. They beat Denver last week, but that's not saying a lot.
No, that is not saying a lot. I also took the Raiders -2.5 at home in Vegas, was there to watch the game. It played out much like we thought. The Broncos got a little bit better, but some of that was because the Raiders were a little bit worse. I don't expect to see tonight to have a lot of fireworks. I'm with you on this Kansas City -7 versus the Raiders. That is going to close out our week. That is the end of Behind the Lines, Week 5. Daniel, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you. We will see you again next week. Good luck to everyone, and hopefully we can keep that winning record rolling. Have a good one.
Cool. Thank you.